Welcome to your 250 class preview, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship here on Racer X. Jason Weigandt, I've been a broadcaster in this series for 12 years now, journalist for more than 20, joined by a man who's raced this series. Could I just give the years, JT? What are we saying, like 97 through 13? Would that be better, Jason Thomas, so I don't have to do the math?
Yeah, Europe into 2013, but something like that. It was too long to really count. You would need some sort of like a sundial to really sort this out. Yeah.
All right. He'll help us break this down. And JT and I will both be part of the broadcast team on Matthes TV and also NBC, which have a couple of rounds this year as well. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross and Steve Matthes, former factory mechanic and internet rabble-rouser who has his own show on Matthes TV now. I cannot believe this has been approved. Maybe you'll be canceled by the time that we actually have these videos posted. But welcome to the show. We're going to talk 250s today. Get your tickets at promotocross.com. 12 rounds, 30 minutes plus two classes, two motos every weekend. The traditional stops, all the COVID stuff and the weirdo scheduling is out. We're back to the normal races of the normal schedule. And we're also back to some normalcy in the 250 class. We'll get to that in a minute. Just want to shout out our sponsors. We got New Ray Toys, got some new gas, Justin Barsha, Turley Designs, Red Bull stuff, DID chains, choice of teams like the Red Bull KTM squad. Also, Maxima Lubricants, Matthes tires, and of course, JT, you're there with Fly Racing. So thanks to our sponsors there. What I was saying about the establishment, 250 class had a ton of riders graduate over the course of 3 or 4 years, which left us with virtually no riders with championship and race winning experience last year. So we got 7 new Supercross winners in 250s last year. We got a new champion in motocross last year with Jett Lawrence, and 2 new champions in Supercross last year with Colt Nichols and Justin Cooper. Most of those guys are back. So now they're the established threats. But I got one big question here. Jett Lawrence has already won this title. He won the 250 East Supercross title this year. Is the 18-year-old Australia super popular Honda HRC man? It just is his. It just is his for the taking. Is it just Jett summer? Or are we going to see some battles? JT, I'll let you go first on that one. He is the defending champion.
I think he will be your champion. Now, is he going to win every moto and just run away with this thing? I don't necessarily think so. I think some of his competitors are getting back to form. We're going to talk about Austin Faulkner. We're going to talk about Hunter Lawrence. We're going to talk about these guys that can, I think, give him everything he wants and more at certain times. But I do believe after 24 motos, when you see who the best guy is, who's the most consistent, who kind of has it all together, which is crazy to say about an 18-year-old, which will be turning 19 in the middle of this series. To me, he just has the whole picture, the starts, the fitness. He has this kind of low-key approach to it where, you know, nothing really seems to phase him. And I think that serves him well in a series like this.
What do you think? Is it the Jett domination tour, since he already showed he could win this title, Steve, against a lot of the same guys? Or could it be different this summer?
Yeah, lots of questions about Justin Cooper, which we'll get to. It will not be a Jett domination, but it will be a Lawrence domination this summer. I think his brother Hunter will be in the mix, 3rd overall last season. And Hunter had his best Supercross season by far, of course. And yeah, reigning red, I think, this summer outdoors, unless you can tell me that Justin Cooper's foot injury, which was pretty serious and kept him out, is 100% healthy and he's ready to go. If you can tell me that, I'll put Justin Cooper in the mix. But as it is, I like the 2 Lawrence brothers to battle this thing out all summer long.
Yeah, it is really interesting. It was knockdown, drag out, hard to pick who was better between Cooper and Jett all year last year. But that's the whole question. Is Justin Cooper back to that with a foot injury that looked gross in the Instagram post?
Well, what do we know, Weech? Have you heard? Or
Well, he's been back on the bike. I saw him in Atlanta Supercross, so going a little over a month. He's been back on the bike. He said it came back pretty quick. He was actually surprised his fitness wasn't as off as he thought. You know, lots of miles on a stationary bike while he was healing. But we've heard a lot of times riders say they're flying at the test track and they feel good coming in, and then it changes when they go to the races. And I do feel like Cooper has been more adversely affected when he comes into a race or a series hurt than others. There's some guys where it's like, it doesn't matter what happened. They show up and they're the same at the first race. I feel like Cooper has had more ups and downs than others when he comes into a series hurt or not. So I'm a little worried, even though Cooper has told me that he's feeling good. Where are you with Justin Cooper, JT? He was definitely, if Jett was 1A, he was 1B last year. And we know that team, by the way, Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing, always builds incredible motorcycles.
It's just going to be preparation. And he's been off for a very long time. That's the problem. So Can he do it? Of course he can, but I don't know. And we're really not going to know where he is until he lines up and the gate drops and we get to see. I think even himself from, I'm going to insert myself into this, which I know people don't like, but I'm drawing from my own experience. Many times I didn't know how it was going to go until the gate drops and I'm in the race. And am I fast enough? Am I fit enough? You're asking yourself these questions that have to be answered on the racetrack. So to me, it's a little bit of a show me situation. We know he's capable. We know the bike's great, but the injury's been a really long one. It hasn't been like, oh yeah, he broke his arm, 6 weeks off, right back to it, like maybe Phil Nicoletti would be in the 450 class. This one's much different, and it could take much longer for him to get back to that championship winning form.
Yeah, he got hurt in December, not riding until like April. Wow, right. That's a lot of time off.
That's really tough to do, right? It's really tough to see Justin Cooper getting back to his old form. And by the way, I just want to point out that when you speak about JT racing nationals for a long time, and of course I was a mechanic for a long time, JT's first ever national, my rider placed one spot ahead of him in his first ever national, and it's continued me being better than JT ever since then. So I just want to point that out.
It's quite fitting since you guys are battling it out literally every single day. I've got the receipts on my text thread to prove it.
It's a great point. It started in 1997 Gainesville.
And you guys are at each other's throats every day. Yeah, the potential of, let's say, Lawrence and Honda domination run through the summer is partially because who would have thought we were making so many jokes last year about Star Racing having 49 riders on the team. Who would have thought that they are running out of talent? Cooper's hurt. We're not quite sure the status of Colt Nichols, the other Supercross champion from last year on that team. He's coming back from gruesome injuries in Supercross himself. And Nichols last year outdoors was a struggle. He's had outdoor podiums before, but he was not a contender last year outdoors. So to think that he's going to come back, get healthy, and be better than he was last year, certainly with Star would like that, but that's a bit of a stretch. And the other big thing is Jeremy Martin is out. He's out altogether. Steve, I was surprised to hear this. He's not only out, he's already done with Star Racing. He's moving to 23 already. In
typical J-Mart fashion, things go off the rails, and he becomes one of the only riders in recent memory to just halfway through a season be like, yeah, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm going here. But let me ask you guys, let me put you on the spot here. Do you think, Weege, that Justin Cooper will be as good? Like, do you think he is as good this summer?
No, I do not. Okay. We have to reserve the idea that if he can get back to that level is on the same level of the Lawrence brothers. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the less likely of two scenarios, that he's going to be just as good as he was last year. And then, so Jeremy Martin had shoulder surgery that he didn't get last year, hoping to race outdoors, ended up getting hurt anyway with other things, didn't win the title last year, got the shoulder fixed. He's not ready for the summer. He's already signed a deal. Kind of surprising to go to Muck-Off Club MX Yamaha in 23. No Jeremy Martin. So that's a big loss for Star. We don't know Nichols' status. Beyond Cooper and Nichols, now you're down to young guys with Thrasher and Levi Kitchen, we'll talk about later. So without Star, who's been the dominant runners in this class, it is pretty open. And JT, one thing about Hunter Lawrence, I think people are forgetting. You might think he's the older brother and Jett already beat him last year, but he was kind of rebuilding himself the whole time. I think there's a chance Hunter makes a bigger jump this summer, one year to the next, than even Jett does. And it could be Lawrence versus Lawrence. It could be at each other's throat for the title, JT.
Yeah, I just said that.
I do think Hunter will be really good. I think he will win motos. I think there will be times where you're like, I don't know where this title's going to end up. I just personally believe, and this is not anything against Hunter, I just think Jett's a little bit better of a motorcycle racer than Hunter is. That there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a slight against. I mean, let's face it, Jett is better than almost every other motorcycle racer on this planet. I just think he's a little bit better than Hunter. You look at his progression, you look at how good he's gotten this young, and you look at the future that's likely ahead of Jett. I will take Jett against Hunter over the course of 24 motos. You look at how good he was last year battling Jeremy Martin. I think he's kind of looking at the landscape this year going, I have a hurt Justin Cooper. I have to race against my brother, which will be difficult, I'm sure, emotionally and physically. But everybody else, I don't think he really views as that much of a threat. I really don't. I think if he's being honest with himself, he looks at this thing and he would consider himself the favorite.
And to JT's point, I mean, Jett was over 100 points better than Hunter last year. Now, I think we see a better Hunter Lawrence.
Sure.
But 100 points is 100 points.
Yeah. Jett did have an ankle injury at the very end of Supercross. that might affect things a little bit, but no one seemed overly concerned with that injury, Steve. I don't think we were hearing anything like that, right?
No, his agent was his agent was very confident that he would be fine.
I saw him that night in the suite area walking, right? He was walking to go watch his brother race, and he had like a walking boot on, but no crutches. I mean, he was walking with weight on it. Had championship on the line, I think you would have seen Jett Lawrence out there and riding fine. But at that point, was it worth the risk? Probably not.
I'm impressed to hear that you saw him at a suite to watch his brother race. I was waiting to hear you say you saw him at a party. So good for Jett. So with this Star Racing having their issues, it opens the door for other teams to finally get back in there. And we have to talk about Pro Circuit. They used to be the Star Racing in this class. I mean, they were literally going 1, 2, 3 in motos, 1, 2, 3, 4 in points. And there are a couple of riders that really need to break through, and maybe they're on that time where they're going to. And it would start with Austin Forkner. So let's talk about Forkner. Rejuvenated. I don't think the early Supercross rounds, he got hurt 1.5 races in, but he didn't look good at that point. I feel like when he came back in Atlanta and then he won in Foxborough, I think that the Forkner that we saw last summer, who was just trying not to get hurt, I think he's pushed that aside. And I think the old Forkner is back. So JT, you seem pretty high on the chances of Forkner maybe finally becoming a factor again. Most people probably don't even remember he raced last summer. He was invisible. He was like a 10th place guy.
Well, when you look at how much better he was in these final few Supercross rounds versus last summer, he looks like Austin Forkner again. The guy that I watched race last year, outside of maybe Washougal, didn't even resemble the Austin Forkner that we've watched for several years now. So that's exciting. It's another contender that could be back in this series. Now, is he good enough to beat Hunter and Jett and whoever else, if just a healthy Justin Cooper? I don't know, right? That's going to be another step that he's got to reclaim, because I think he's been there before. He just needs to remember who he is, where he's been in this class for a very long time. And if he approaches it with that speed, that level of confidence that he had, like him racing at Foxborough Supercross this year was the Austin Forkner of old. If he brings that level to this summer, he'll be right in the mix.
What do you think on Forkner? Or is there anybody else over there, Pro Circuit, that's going to have Joe Shimoda, who had a very underwhelming Supercross season? Seth Hamaker, who we've barely seen race outdoors. He is back from injury in Supercross. He was very good at the beginning of the year indoors. Cameron McAdoo, didn't get him in outdoors last year with a torn ACL. He's back from injuries in Supercross. And I believe Jett Reynolds, I don't know if Reynolds will be there at the very beginning of the year as a rookie coming back from injury. A lot of guys with a lot of question marks there at Pro Circuit. Starting with Forkner, what do you think, Matthes?
Yeah, I mean, you look at when Forkner came back from injury in the Supercross, he came back in Atlanta, which was a showdown, and he blitzed a main event, the heat race.
Yeah.
That was basically the main. He blitzed from whatever, 7th to 1st, right? It was incredible. Yeah. And then, of course, he took home his first win in 3 years or whatever. Yeah, I don't think Forkner's on the Lawrence's brothers level, but he can be that next guy for sure. And so he'll be good. Listen, I'm not a Shimoda guy. I think he's solid. I'm not where some people are with Shimoda, as far as I thought, injuries and things like that have helped him get results. Attrition's still good, don't get me wrong, but in the full field, he hasn't been there. But the last 6 motos of the last summer, Shimoda was on the podium 4 times and then had 2 fourths in the last 6 motos of the year. So, he beat Forkner in points. So maybe we should be talking about Shimoda being the guy to beat on the Pro Circuit team ahead of Forkner. Forkner was there all summer. Same deal, right? So, and Shimoda beat him. So maybe that's something that I keep an eye on. McAdoo, love Ramit, great guy, got to stay healthy. Hamaker at this point, is he just another failed amateur? He just is missing so much time. He seems like a good kid, but you can't miss this many races, Seth. Like Styles Robertson, same idea, right? So I don't know what we get with Seth Hamaker. And yeah, Jett Reynolds won't be ready to start from what I hear. So the king of Pro Circuit will be down to Shimoda and Forkner. And honestly, I think I take Shimoda right now.
It's a bit of a question mark with Shimoda, though, because, man, with where he was, like you said, at the end of the Nationals last year, you really thought Shimoda would come in and be a contender in Supercross. His Supercross season this year was worse than last year, and we were all speculating maybe that's because he put the pressure on himself. So can he fix those problems? Because he's still young, right? He should be even better than he was last year, and he was pretty good, but we didn't see that in Supercross. So JT, I don't know about Shimoda. That's going to be interesting. Can he fix whatever the heck the problem was in Supercross? Because it was not pretty.
I think he'll be okay. I think you'll see similar results to what Steve was talking about towards the end of the season, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, no problem. I truly believe he will do that and do that consistently. But I believe that Forkner's ceiling is simply higher. I think that if Forkner is firing on all cylinders, Forkner can win. Like, he can be your overall winner on a day where I just haven't seen Shimoda there, where, okay, yeah, Shimoda, man, that was a great moto. You got third. That's kind of the top end of your range, where if Forkner's clicking, I think he will give anybody on the track every bit they want. So it's just a little bit of different levels of expectation. Nothing against Shimoda. I just think Forkner's a little bit better when everything's good for both guys.
Max, this rubber hits the road. It is that pro circuit team for sure. Both the team not having the success that they had for a long, long time. Probably a lot of rubbing the hands through the hair for poor Mitch Payton over there the last couple of years, right, Steve? So yep. Rubber meets the road from Max's tires for any of those guys at pro circuit. Somebody do it for Mitch. Get him up there and start winning some nationals like the team used to. Pressure's on, boys. So that's pro circuit. Let's move to another team that has a rider who's usually right in the thick of it. It's Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna. RJ Hampshire. It's kind of like two guys over there. There's him, and then there's the young guys, Swole and Robertson, who we'll get to in a little bit. But RJ is absolutely established. He's now one of the older, more veteran guys. He's won a few nationals through the years. And now we throw in the other angle. Boy, does he crash a lot. So RJ, is RJ just going to RJ? Can we just assume RJ is going to RJ? He's going to be the fastest guy in some days, win some nationals, but go down too much. Does anyone see RJ holding a number one plate maybe at the end of this? Because I think some of the pieces are there, but
no,
RJ, man, you got to stop pushing the front, bro.
No. Fly Racing Zone, RJ Hampshire. He will go balls fast.
Mm-hmm.
Some weekends he will win motos. He will look great, but then he will throw it down, zebra, stripes, the whole thing. And buckle in if you're an RJ Hampshire fan, because it's life is full of ups and downs.
I think even the other riders marvel at it sometimes, how fast he can go. And also his recovery, like he can go down 2-3 times in a moto and not get tired and not lose his rhythm. It's a thing of beauty to watch in a crazy way, JT. It's like what other people look at on YouTube when they're like, check out this crazy thing that happened. That's a RJ Hampshire moto for you.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going away. Just like Steve said, this is just who he is. And I think last year, the upside was a little higher than we had seen in a long time. You go back to the High Point National, he should have won that, right? His teammate, Jalek Swole, ends up winning, but RJ was gone in the moto where I believe his chain derailed or broke or whatever would happen. But if he can find that level, you go back even to, I believe, Southwick, he was winning. I want to say he was winning that moto and crashed as well. So there were so many missed opportunities on top of some of the really nice motos that he had. So if he can find a way to, I hesitate to say it because I don't think he can, right? Eliminate a lot of those mistakes. I think you're going to get more of the same, but man, he's got to look at it. And I'm sure he knows, right? He's got to go home and stare at the ceiling and think about these mistakes that he's making. But if he can ever find a way to just smooth out some of that variance, he could move up several spots. Now, is it all the way to the top? I don't know. I don't think so. But he could surely be 2, 3, 4 in points, because you start racking up wins. Those go a long way over the course of a season as far as moving yourself up the roster.
Look, Justin Cooper had 14 podiums in 24 motos. RJ had 11, and Cooper was over 100 points ahead of RJ. Yep, RJ almost matched Justin Cooper for podiums on the season. Except, the lows were low, right? So, and I don't see that changing.
Yeah, even the overall that he won at Redbud, he went 2-2, which would make you think, oh, he was super consistent. No, it was just he was the fastest guy by far in both motos and crashed so many times, but he was still fast enough to finish second in both motos. I do want to throw one crazy wild card rumor that I keep hearing out there. In our 450 show, we talked about how that Rockstar Husqvarna team has been decimated by injuries. We think Malcolm Stewart might be out now with a knee injury. Dean Wilson's hurt. Zach Osborne's retired. Jason Anderson's gone. I keep hearing people say, what about RJ on a 450? You think that might happen? I don't know. When we're recording this show, we're 2 weeks out. I don't know if there's anything to that, but I keep hearing this persistent, what about RJ on a 450? They do have two other riders between Swole and Robertson, so they would still have riders on the gate.
Giving RJ a bigger bike with more horsepower seems like a great idea.
Yeah. No, there's always two theories in motocross, that you will push it less hard when you don't have to have the thing pinned everywhere you go. A 450 suits every rider's style better. Ask any rider ever.
It worked for Marty. It worked for Marty.
He did smooth out. He did. Let's go to the other two riders on that team real quick. Swoll and Robertson. Robertson, I think, has been linked to potentially some other teams already next year, so he might have himself a ride, but both of them are in a position where they got to show something. Swoll did get that win last year at High Point, but Supercross was really tough on Jalek, and Robertson's barely raced. So really a time that these two got to show the industry what they've got, because we've seen riders in this situation. It's 50-50. They could be on the verge of something, or it might never come together, JT, for either one of these guys.
Yeah, I would say especially for Jalek, because he did not have a good Supercross season. It was, if I'm being honest, pretty poor. I think he's a better rider than what he showed. It just was not coming together for him. So if he can find the days like he had at High Point where he winning, right? I think that blew everyone away that was watching how well he rode there. So it's in him, and it's going to be up to him to decide what his future is. I think if he comes out and has a great summer, he's going to land somewhere, whether it's there again. He will get great equipment for 2023. But if he continues this slump he's in and doesn't show that flair and that ability to run at the front, hole shotting, which he's a great starter, he needs to continue to put himself into good positions. It's going to be tough, because these teams look at you and go, man, if you can't do it and you're not making it happen on factory equipment when your teammate, RJ Hampshire, is running at the front, how's it going to work over here? So it's not the perfect position for Jalek to be going into. But again, you look how great he was last summer. It's certainly possible. And then on the Robertson side, I'm a little bit more optimistic. I thought Styles was actually riding really well before injury sidelined him. You look at some of his results, they were actually really good. It wasn't an underwhelming performance that has been the story for Styles. It's been the inability to line up behind the gate that has been the story for Styles. So if he can be there, put 24 motos in, get some good results, I think he has a really good shot to stay there.
Steve, I know you're big on amateurs coming out and getting guaranteed factory rides. I know you're big on that.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't worked out for either guy, and that team has had a string of misses. They probably need to overhaul their amateur motocross selection committee, if there is such a thing. I think Jalek will be back there next year. I think Styles will be at Star Yamaha from everything we hear. So yeah, I don't see any massive improvements by either guy coming this summer. I think they'll be what they are at this point. I think guys like Levi Kitchen will surpass them, so yeah, we'll see what happens. So I don't think it's a big summer for either guy as their futures are secured, but I don't see either one taking a big step up. That'd be cool if they did, but I don't see it.
Okay. Another team that is definitely on the verge here of having contenders, that is the Charlie Designs Red Bull Gas team. Go to New Ray USA, get their toys. They've just got the Gas line coming out now. New bikes, new team, new toys, newrayusa.com. Michael Mosiman, he's a guy that can win any race, anytime, anywhere, indoors or out. He has not won many of them because he ends up crashing. And Pierce Brown, I think, has that level of potential as well. We haven't quite seen it. Pierce quietly did start to put it together consistently. Even got third at the final Dave Coombs shootout East-West race in Monster Energy Supercross. So that team can't be counted out. They're going to be solid, those two. What do you think about the Brown-Mosiman combo? I'll go to you first, JT. What do you think about those two?
Yeah, I think Pierce will be a steady top 10 guy, right? And he needs to continue to work forward, which he did in Supercross. This was by far the best Supercross series of his career. He was a legitimate podium threat, and I think he needs to try to find that same level as we move into the motocross season. Mosiman, I look at a little bit differently. I think Mosiman can win. I think he can win motos, but he has this tendency to crash, and it's not the violent crashes that RJ has. It's not these spectacular highlight reel type stuff. It's just losing the front end, the untimely mistake that costs him several positions, and he gets up and he's in 10th instead of he was in 3rd. So for me, a little bit two different situations. I think the expectations on my end for Mosiman are a little bit higher, where Pierce, I think, has taken a nice season. He just needs to continue that trend upwards.
What do you think on those two guys, Matthes? Yeah, you're right, JT. Well, Mosiman, we don't talk about Mosiman crashing like we do Hampshire, but the numbers are starting to pile up. There's a lot of front end washouts there.
Yep.
Maximo's on board with the show, and okay. Maximo makes great contact cleaner, and Michael Mosiman needs to clean up the contact with the ground. That has been getting him, and it's not been good. I'm with JT. He's got speed. He made a bunch of podiums last year, but just, too many mistakes. And actually, Pierce Brown does the same thing. Pierce Brown hits the ground a lot too. So both guys, get the subframes ready, get the handlebars ready, figure that thing out over there at TLD Gas. But They both have speed. Mosiman's getting old now. How old is Mosey? He's been in the class, what, 6 years or something?
Yeah, something like that. He's not a young guy any longer. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, much like RJ, we just, bagged on RJ or made fun of RJ or whatever for hitting the ground. Like, I don't know if Mosey's going to change either at this point, but he needs to clean up the contact with the ground. Other than that, I can see him winning races.
One of the more unique personalities of the game, Mosiman. Every rider says you have to, think positive and believe you can do it. When you talk to Mosiman, it was hilarious. He was asked about crashing. Specifically, someone said, "Are you becoming the new Marty Davalos with washing the front?" And he said, "I don't even remember doing that. I block it out. It didn't even happen."
And also, I don't know how many past champions let homeless people live with them, but if he wins the title, he'll be the first champion, I think, to ever let that happen. I don't recall Wardy or RJ just taking in transients.
No, big heart on and off the track there.
Yeah,
Michael Mosiman. Okay, so we mentioned that there's some other guys with the Star Racing team, and that's the young guys, Thrasher and Kitchen. Look, they have done an excellent job with their amateur selection committee, if that's what we want to call it. They just keep bringing up more success. The Thrasher Kitchen thing hasn't been super smooth, though. Thrasher has these 3 Supercross wins, which sounds phenomenal, and no other good results to speak of besides that. Very weird. Didn't really show much in outdoors last year, and then he got hurt at Millville. And Kitchen, I believe Kitchen has great talent and ability. He just has barely been on the racetrack. So we believe Justin Cooper and Colt Nichols are going to point out of the class. Christian Craig has won a 250 Supercross title. He's already signed a 450 deal. He's out. There is going to be pressure. Jeremy Martin's out for next year as well. There is going to be pressure on Thrasher and Kitchen. They've got to take the mantle for what has been the most successful 250 team over the last couple of years. So, Steve, there's some pressure, I think, on Thrasher and Kitchen to show, when Cooper and Nichols and Martin are gone, we're going to fill in.
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be some pressure on those guys. I hear Thrasher's going to be back next year, and of course, Kitchen will be as well. I like the Chef. I think the Chef's got potential. I like the Chef more from people like you, Weege, and people who follow the amateur scene closer, like kind of not being this burnt out mini star and then just kind of finding his form the last few years. I like that idea about him, and I like sort of his attitude and everything else. So I'm a fan of the Chef, I should say. I'm a fan of Kitchen. I think he can be better. But yeah, I mean, look, bottom line, he raced 2 Supercrosses this year in his rookie year and then got hurt. Last summer, he got hurt as well, I think, near the end of the year. And Thrasher has been a mystery, man. Do you guys, either one of you, remember one outdoor moto where you were like, oh, look at Nate Thrasher? No, I do not. No. I don't, right? Like, not even once. And I do remember a couple motos where you're like, oh, look at Kitchen. Yes. So, I think Kitchen's ceiling is higher than Thrasher, but I agree it is big for both guys to go out there. Thrasher's Kitchen, of course, has hurt his kneecap, broke his kneecap, which is kind of gnarly. He's back on the bike now, but geez, that doesn't sound very pretty. And I'll throw a little more pressure as I swing it over to you, JT. This team is notoriously, if you're not getting results they expect, they will tell you about it. So they're not going to say, hey, it's fine, Justin Cooper's back and he's fast. If they're not getting results, they will yell at their guys. So it's going to be their expectations for Kitchen and Thrasher. Well, it's, this team, riding for this team is a blessing. I don't want to say a curse because that's not really the right phrase, but it comes with really high expectations. And if you do not fill those expectations, you're gone, right? There is just not a lot of room for less than desired results. They don't give you a lot of, room to figure it out, right? You either get there, you do well, you show that you're going to be able to quote unquote make it, or they'll find somebody else who will. And you have to know that when you sign up for that team. That's just how they work over there. That you're expected to win, you're expected to be in championship contention. If you don't get that done and get it done quickly, or at least show that you're going to work towards that, you're probably going to be riding for another team. So these two guys that you're mentioning, I think it's that time. Like, I'm not saying they have to go out and win motos, but they need to show improvement and they need to show relevancy, because as we know, Bobby Weigandt and that team just does not wait around. They have their pick of riders. That's the upside for that team, is they get to go basically hand pick, because everyone believes that they have the best equipment or maybe the best chance to win there. So if you're not the guy, guess what? You're out, because we will go find the guy who is. Yeah, we've already heard other guys that they're talking to, pros. They also have a stacked amateur group. Hayden Deegan's a couple years off, everybody. Yeah, I know YouTube Nation loves Hayden Deegan. He's a couple years off. He's not part of this show, but he will be part of that team. We'll get there when it's time.
We'll get there when it's time. Yeah, you know. You talk about amateur guys who were waiting to show something. It's our DID trying to find the missing link. What in the heck has happened to Maximus Voland with Red Bull KTM? He was pretty good last year outdoors. This Supercross season didn't start well with an injury, and when he came back, it was in no uncertain terms terrible. He couldn't make main events. Then supposedly he had a thumb injury. I don't know when he's coming back. I believe he has one more year on his deal with KTM. His agent was smart enough to try to give him as much runway as possible, but Max Voland is rapidly falling down, and he's like the actual stock market right now. So the missing link, you got to find it, Max Voland. That was startling, JT. He was not fast enough to qualify for main events this year on the stopwatch. That is crazy.
Yeah, it was not a good 2022 season for Voland at all. And I mean, it really didn't start well. If you go back to last season, he looked pretty good. He was consistent. He was a top 10 guy. He was working his way into this series, which is what I believe Red Bull KTM wanted out of him. There weren't any drastic movements in any direction. It was like, hey, let's just put laps in, put races in, log some results. This year was the complete opposite of that. It was crashing. It was slow lap times. There's just nothing went to plan. Bad starts, bad qualifying sessions. It was all bad. I could not find one positive thing that went on for Max Voland. It really was that bad. So I think really you just need to go into this and they need to hit him with that deneuralizer like in Men in Black and just forget about all of that and start over. Just start this season like Supercross never happened, because last summer he was pretty good too. So hopefully, you know, his dad's been around a long time, wily veteran of, you know, motocross and Supercross racing. They just need a full reset and forget about all that. Remember who you are, remember how talented you are, and go into this season, you know, like maybe even go back and watch races from last motocross season. And remember when you were leading at Paula last year, remember how good those things can be. That's where he needs to get back to and just completely forget about all those things that happened this spring.
Will Roger DeCoster remember Max's name when he returns to the truck, or has he already been forgotten about? Because Roger likes winners, and there was no winning in Supercross this year for Max. He's got a real rebuild on his hands here. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I liked his summer last year. I thought he was consistent. Good. I like Lone Wolf, his dad. I like the program they've got. Maybe he's just a better outdoor guy than indoor guy. I feel like you two, both of you, are being a little harsh about these missed main events. There were weird circumstances going on, you know, so let's calm that down a little bit.
But the riding wasn't good. It doesn't matter. Like, these lap times were awful.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't sit here and say like, oh, you know, it's understandable he made main events. He's a factory rider. He's got to make.
He didn't qualify at a Triple Crown where it's only about lap time, Steve.
You know, I mean, it was the first time back after a long off break from injury. You know,
I'm not being harsh. I'm just saying it wasn't good. I know he's a good rider. That's why he's on Red Bull KTM. I've seen him run around in the top 5 of this series that we're going into many, many times. I'm just saying none of what we saw this spring was good comparatively to what we've seen for the prior year.
I'm not going to let you two crap on Max Voland's legacy. I'm not going to sit here and let this happen.
We didn't have a troll train in this class anymore. So now we have to go there.
No, listen, I'm kidding, but no, I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried. Okay. I think I like his pedigree. I like his program. I guess I'm a little biased because I like Talon Voland. I think Talon's really smart and knows what to do and had a great career. And, you know that bike's good. So I think we're going to see Max Voland back around 5 to 10 every moto this summer and just continue to grow.
I think it comes down to what JT was saying. He's just got to, whatever negative vibes and lack of confidence that he would have lost Supercross, he's got to just pretend that didn't happen. And
he will. And I predict he will. Okay. And I think we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah. Yep. It's a slippery slope in this game. Confidence comes and goes quite quickly, and it's hard to flip it the other direction. So we'll see what he does. There's a lot of 250 teams that only race Supercross, so I don't think we're going to see the Jarrett Fry and Jordan Smith team that was in Supercross, the Honda squad. So that's a firepower Honda team. So we'll see who ends up in and out of this series. You got the Bar X Suzuki team with the help of Chaparral, managed by Larry Brooks, owned by Myron Short. I was a little underwhelmed with some of their guys in Supercross, but they've got real talent on that team. Between Derek Drake and Preston Kilroy.
Dylan Schwartz, 10th overall, sneaky good.
I know.
That's good, Dylan Schwartz, right? He's a fly rider too.
I said Supercross. Last year they were great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's really, really good for Dylan Schwartz to be there. And now they got Mumphy and, sneaky good results from this team, I think, for this year.
Yeah, I expected to sneaky good in Supercross. It didn't happen, but outdoors, they were putting it together with multiple guys. And Schwartz had a nice little run going there where he's getting 6th and 7th level. Yeah.
Josh Varese, too. I feel like Varese will be on a better equipment than he was last summer, right? It was him and his dad in their motorhome privateer bike. Now he's got last year's factory bike under him. So Varese should take a step up as well.
And your guy Enzo, Steve. Your guy Enzo Lopes.
Pulpamex rider Enzo Lopes, 5th overall in Supercross. Great job for him. He's been having this problem with his hand going numb from a past shoulder injury. He is down in Brazil getting that fixed as we speak. So the hand will not go numb on us outdoors. And Enzo's probably a better indoor guy than outdoor. Let's face it. It's been a while since he's been outdoor, but keep an eye on Enzo Lopes on the club team. The bike will be good. Enzo Lopes could be, I think, around a 10th place guy this summer. Phil still says he's too soft, but Phil thinks everybody's too soft.
Yes, Phil thinks everybody's too soft. Phil, when he comes back, will be a 450 rider for the summer from his broken arm. Even though he did race 250 Supercross, he's going to jump up to the 450s. Same thing. You won't see Christian Craig in the 250 class. He's going to jump up to the 450s. Also, Alex Martin. Yeah, he's a 450 guy full-time these days. And Garrett Marchbanks is going to the 450s as well. So if you're watching this show, remember, those guys are not 250 riders.
I have a question. Does anybody know, is Ty Masterpool alive?
Yeah, good question. He missed Supercross. He got hurt right before the season.
Good outdoor guy.
If Ty Masterpool is there, he could be really good. Outdoors, he pulls amazing starts, and boy, can he go fast.
Yep.
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
I know as a couple months ago, he was hunting around for a trainer. So I'm assuming that he will be there and be ready. He was trying to get dialed in for the summer.
Were you going to do it, JT? Hard cut.
Was I going to? No, I was not going to be his trainer. No. Okay. But I was trying to connect some dots for him. I was asking around at the request of someone he knows.
No one ever asked me for trainer advice. It's really odd.
I mean, you got EPV. You did it to yourself.
I know. Yeah. What kind of program would I be able to run?
Yeah. I've been saying this for 3 years. I would love for Ty Masterpool to get it figured out because his potential is off the charts. That's why he was a star racing guy for a while. I mean, they only pick the creme de la creme, and he's absolutely there. Could be one of them. But those puzzle pieces have been falling apart more than they've been coming together. So who knows? Watch him come back to a national this summer, whole shot, and run top 3. It's possible. He's got the speed to do it. That's our 250 show for the most part here. I do want to mention, if you want to watch on Mav TV, you can get the streaming service, which is Mav TV Plus. Not Peacock this summer. It is Mav TV Plus, but we'll give you a discount if you want to buy the annual subscription to Mav TV Plus. You can watch it anywhere in the world. This is key. You could not watch the races streaming in Australia last year. This summer you can if you're a Jett Lawrence guy.
And Canada.
Didn't have it last year?
No.
Yes. So we'll give you $10 off an annual membership. Type in ProMX10. ProMX10 in the coupon code area. $10 off an annual membership for Mav TV Plus. Or if you want to do the monthly membership, we'll give you half off. It's $6.99 a month. We'll charge you $3.50. And that's a Pro MX50. Type that in at checkout and get a discount to be able to watch anywhere you are. Because, JT would be a kind of guy that would be on a boat all summer watching streaming in most years. But not this time. You're going to be at the races.
Chosen to ruin his summer. Nice work, JT. Great job on that. Before we go, let's pick our championship riders. And then also I want a breakout rider. I want both.
All right. We're going to pick our who is going to fly. Well, I'm really going to stick my neck out on this one. I was smart enough to pick Jett Lawrence to win the title last year. You guys were not. I was right. I'm just going to stick with it. It's Jett's world. We're all just living in it.
You picked Jett last summer.
Yes, I did. I had the revelation. I said Jett is good, and you said, yeah, shocking. But you didn't pick him for the title. I did.
I picked J Mart. I know that.
I think you went Cooper.
I might have went Cooper. Mm-hmm. Breakout rider, Weech?
Why don't you guys tell me your title contenders and think about that, because you just threw that one at me. Go ahead.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Guess what, folks? I'm going to go right off the board with this one for title, for championship. It'll be Jett Lawrence.
Yeah. Shocking.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Jett will be champ. I don't have, barring injury, of course, or whatever, but I think Jett wins, and I think pretty easily as well.
I do not think easily. I think Hunter gives him a run.
100 points
Cooper.
Last year.
We're too worried about Cooper right now, right?
What's that?
We're too worried about Justin Cooper's foot.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Yeah. If you can if you told me, for the 450 show, I said if Eli Tomac rides all 450, all 12 races, I pick him as a champion. I don't think that's going to happen. If you told me Justin Cooper was the same speed, then I would certainly, have a lot more to say. But this is a pretty bad injury. So, I'm no doctor. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn the other night, but I think this injury is pretty bad. So it'll take Justin Cooper a little while to get up to speed. I think breakout rider, Michael Mosiman. I think Mosiman figures it out a little bit this summer. Now, not title wise and all that, but can we go top 3 in the points with a couple of race wins for Michael Mosiman? Can we say that? Come on, Mosiman. Let's figure this out. Let's do it.
Yeah, I absolutely believe he's capable of that. I don't want to pick the same breakout as you, so I will instead go with his teammate Pierce Brown. And I'm not saying it's quite that level where he's going to be top 3 in points and winning motos, but I think you're going to start to see Brown take steps toward flirting with podiums, maybe leading laps here and there. I don't think he's quite at the level of Mosiman yet, but I think you're going to see a step up. So I'm going to pick Brown as my breakout.
That would still be a breakout. Absolutely. Yeah. If he did that would still be a breakout for sure.
Who do you got, JT?
I was going to go Pierce Brown, but I've been pretty big on Faulkner. I really liked what I saw starting in Atlanta. Just the first time he hit the track in Atlanta, I just saw the aggression that's been missing for 2 years. And I think he can find that and harness it and bring it to this Outdoor Championship. So
hold on.
Wow. We knew it was coming. He's not going to allow you to do this. We knew it was coming. Here we go.
Listen, breakout means the guy's going to do something that he hasn't done before. He's going to break out, right? Like he's going to become something that he's not been. Faulkner literally has won a bunch of nationals and been top 3 in points and all. Like he'd be breaking back out.
I thought it was more of like surprise guy. Okay.
Oh, no, breaking out. Like
I don't know. You gotta qualify these things. So send me an email or something. Let me know.
JT Austin Faulkner will be breaking back out. Would be your word. He's a breaking back out.
Yes. He's going to be breaking back.
I'm write a book on what defines sleeper and breakout.
No, it's only because I said
ideas in his head.
If you had said Faulkner, nothing happens. We just move right along. Good pick, Weege. Good pick.
Thinking of a guy who is going to do something this summer that he's never done before, and he's going to break out of the box like surprise, like that. And that's going to be Mosiman and Pierce Brown and Austin Faulkner has already broken out of the box 2-3 years ago. So, but that's fine.
Back in the box, and he's going to break back out of the box.
Okay. All right. Fine. He's going to break back out of the box.
If Faulkner all of a sudden won a moto at the end of the year last year, it would have been surprise. Okay.
Yeah.
So based on what we saw, it could still be surprising. I just want to end this show on a little rant. I don't know why we're already starting to reach the age of Lawrence brothers backlash. And I know that they really do get crammed down your throat in the TV shows and with the media and whatnot. I think the 3 of us try to just treat them like any other rider. We don't try to go nuts on the Lawrence brothers. But I keep seeing this feedback from fans of like, stop with this Lawrence brothers hype. Stop with this Lawrence brothers hype. People, Jett Lawrence is one of the last 2 titles he's competed for. I don't know what more he could do to deserve the credit. His brother almost won the other Supercross title. We are now talking about 2 brothers being the 1 and 2 favorites and their teammates going into a series. This basically never happens. Matthes, you'd probably argue that the Martin brothers were once at that level when they were on Star Racing. They were maybe 1-2 in the Nationals. You would probably say that.
Thank you.
Yep. But this is unbelievably rarefied air to have a sport where 2 brothers might be the 2 best guys. So do not at us saying there's too much Lawrence hype. You can't possibly hype that enough. And this isn't hype anymore. It's actually just reality. They're doing all the winning. They're getting all
Callan
the
and Tyson Volan just took their shirts off, Weege. So thanks. Good job.
Sorry. They were very good riders. I don't know if they were 1-2 in a series. And our guy Mitch Kendra at Racer X pointed out, there's only one Supercross this year that didn't have a Lawrence brother on the podium in the 250 class. That's the kind of damage they're doing, everybody. It just
really? Is that true?
Yes.
Is that true?
Hunter crashed out of Anaheim 3. Every other race, there was 1 Lawrence brother on the podium. 16 out of 17. This is how legit these guys are. So don't add us with the Lawrence brothers hype. They've earned it.
No, but and they don't ask it for themselves. But at times the Supercross show did seem over the top with talking about them. Hey, it is what it is. They have personalities. They're really good. They're going to sell the future of the sport. I get some of the backlash. At times it did seem a bit much, but thankfully they are backing it up on the track 100%. And they don't go around saying, hey, Feld, put us on TV. They don't do any of that. They're not in charge of that. So yeah, I think people need to back off on that a little bit. Although it does a bit at times.
Their agent might.
That's true. That's true. He's very confident himself. All right, so we think it's going to be a summer of Lawrence unless one of these Star Racing Yamaha guys can put it together. Maybe Pro Circuit Kawasaki. We'll see. There are some riders that have won races before in this field, but Lawrence brothers come in with a lot of momentum. We'll see if anyone can derail them. Check out the races on Mav TV. Jason Thomas, Steve Matthes, and you folks watching, thanks for joining us here at Racer X. Contact cleaner. You're going to clean out that studio when we're done from all the crap talk that we've done for the last couple of hours. Enjoy the shows. We will see you starting at Fox Raceway at Pala on May the 28th. Great Outdoors 50th anniversary of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross coming your way. Thanks for watching.